Really proud of the way the guys came out today. We talked about starting fast in this game. We talked about how we wanted to start fast, play fast. I thought we did that in the first half. The guys on defense, I thought, were running around, playing with speed. And then going into halftime there, we're in there for a while. That was a long break for us, and it was just one of those same things that we talked to our team about. It was another E, which is an event that we couldn't control, and so we wanted to have an outcome of winning the game and playing strong in the second half. And Mick and the strength staff are, the best in the country. And so they did a great job of hydrating the guys, making sure they got off their feet. And then we had a good plan to coming out in the second half, and I thought we played well in the second half as well.
Open it up over here to the right, Tim.
Ryan, could you assess the play of Dwayne Haskins Jr.? And then after that, if you can remember, assess the play of Mike Weber. You talked about Mike Weber's great camp. It seemed to carry over.
Yeah, I think really proud of the way that Mike has practiced. We've been talking about that for a while now. He's had a really good preseason. He's practiced hard. He's been taking care of the football. And so that was really good to see him play well today. We brought 3 guys up in the locker room. He was one of them. Malcolm Pridgeon was another one, and Terry McLaurin was the third. And those 3 guys have been arguably some of the 3 best practice players that we had, and they had really big days for us today, so that was great. I thought Dwayne started well, played well, had the one play there that obviously he'd like to have back, but overall it was a good start for him.
Over to the left, Bill.
Right, could you just talk about your emotions of the day and what it was like without having Urban here?
Well, there was a lot going on for me. First time going through everything, whether it was in the meetings or going to the skull session, the walk, pregame, going out in the field. So there was a lot of first times. And so, did the best I could. Got a lot of help from a lot of people, obviously Greg and Kevin and the guys on the staff, but also, Quinn and Brian and all the guys that helped me, and obviously Mick, on a daily basis. So got a lot of support there, and obviously the players, the way that they played today and the way that they've been playing all camp, gives you a lot of confidence, as you're in front of the group.
Over here to the far right, Dom.
Coach, 77 points out of your offense. Just overall, what did you see out of those guys? And I'm sure you saw room for improvement, but 77 points. And on the other side of the ball, the defense did give up some big plays.
Well, I thought that we played with tempo today, and we were aggressive. I thought we stretched the field horizontally and we stretched it vertically, which is the goal. But I thought the tempo was really good. We have a lot of depth at receiver, so we're able to play multiple receivers and stay fresh, which I think you could see. Our offensive line is in tremendous shape, but we were playing at a pretty fast clip. I got to go back and look to see how fast we were playing, but we were really playing fast in that first half, which was the plan going in. So, but then we were playing efficiently too, so that was good. But a lot to learn from and something to build on for sure. Yeah, Greg and the guys obviously had these guys ready to roll. Obviously the sacks early on and creating a lot of disruption. The turnover is a huge play. Anytime you can create a turnover, that flips it, where you go from possibly getting the ball back to 7 points for us. That turned the game. I think that went from 35 to 42, if I remember correctly. And then all of a sudden the game changes. The whole outcome of the game changes. So that was really big for us.
Over to the left, Tim.
Ryan, you had about a near 50-50 split on snaps for J.K. and Mike. How much of that is kind of the plan that you're hoping to have every week, even though on a day like today, for example, Mike might be better, but then next week J.K. could also, be the one who has the big days? Is that 50-50 what you're aiming for?
Yeah, but it kind of depends on the game. When we're playing this fast, those guys shoot, after they go about 5 plays, they need a sub anyways. So it's not like we could leave them in even if we wanted to. We would try to roll them, keep them fresh, and how the game plays and how the chips fall, they do. But both guys, are talented, and some days one guy's going to be hot. Sometimes it's luck of the draw based on the way the guys block up front.
You had a couple of pop pass touchdowns inside the 10-yard line. Is that something, Dwayne not being maybe as mobile quarterback as, JT was last year? Is that a situation where, you're inside the 10, you're a spread team, you can't really run and toss out of the shotgun or pistol normally, that you're trying to create an edge on that situation?
More of just what we were seeing on defense. That was just a schematic play that we came up with during the week that we thought gave us an advantage to get the ball in the perimeter.
Over to the right here, Rob.
Ryan, over here. I think he had a handful of third and short and never ran the quarterback, which in the past few years that would have been the case. In fact, I think he only had one run, and it was a scramble. Consciously, did you go into that? Let's not run him as much. Let's, on short yardage, let's throw. Just change things up from what we've seen in the past?
Dwayne can run, and there's going to be times where he's going to need to run. But, sometimes it's just kind of based on what we're seeing, in terms of what the defense has given us. So he's still a threat with his legs. He's obviously a gifted passer, and he does that really, really well. But there's different ways that we can spread the field where he might possibly be reading a linebacker on one play, or there's times where he's reading a defensive lineman he will have to run. So sometimes it's based on what the defense is giving us.
Over to the left, Austin.
Ryan, this might sound silly, but before the game, it looked like you had some whistle problems. Were you nervous at all to go out as the first time, and did you sense any nerves with Dwayne either?
No, I didn't actually. The whistle, I don't know. They gave me a whistle, it didn't work, so I had to send it back and get a fresh one. So, but no, not nervous, because there was a quiet confidence about this team all along. There's a quiet confidence about a lot of guys on our team. And when you're surrounded with players and coaches that have your back and that you've been through some stuff with, you kind of feel good about it. And probably I had three things that I really, really enjoyed. The first one was bed check last night, going around and being with each of the guys in a room. That was a really cool experience for me. The skull session and the support that we all felt going to the skull session was really awesome. And then the last one was coming out in the second half and seeing all the fans come back after a long delay. Coming out before the game and seeing the support and going through the line and just the support that I felt and this team felt walking from the skull session to the stadium was really, really cool. And you could feel it, and it was emotional.
Over here to the front row right, Clay.
Coach, what kind of reaction do you think you'll get from Urban on the outcome and how the game went?
Well, we're gonna, when Coach gets back, we're looking forward to getting him back and looking forward to those meetings and kind of building as we go to Rutgers. But it'll be business as usual for us. We'll look at the film and make corrections and go from there.
How about Tate's ability? He runs 10 yards, then he pitches. Was he playing under control, or is that the way you want him to play?
Well, I wasn't sure. From my angle, I thought he fumbled the ball. So, I mean, my heart jumped out of my throat. But he was actually being Tate, which is he's a playmaker. He can do some great things like that. He's very quick. His short area quickness is excellent. And you can see, like, in that opportunity, he has the option to run it, give it, or actually pitch the ball late or throw it. And so that's what he did there. And he is a playmaker. And so, as the season goes on, he'll have more and more opportunities to show that.
Over to the left, Ari.
Ryan, the last month has been difficult for, I'm sure, you and the players on the team, and difficult for the fans who just want to talk about football and think about football. Do you feel as if Dwayne Haskins is the perfect face for a fan base that just needs something to look forward to? And is he, based on what you've seen, capable of kind of just becoming the new face of this program?
I don't know about that. I mean, I think that, this is a first start for Dwayne, and it was a good start. We'll be building on it as we go. I understand what you're saying, but I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves here. This is one game, and we have a long way to go.
Obviously, we've seen what he was able to do with his arm, but how was he in the locker room during your guys' long delay? How do you think he handled just his first real day on the job being this team?
I thought he handled it well, but I think all the guys had a calmness about him again. In that locker room, Mick had him in there, and take off your shoulder pads, relax. It's going to be a little while. Don't panic. But then when it was time to flip the switch, I think we went out at 2:58 was the time. Then the music went on, everybody got jacked up, and we were rolling. We went through a routine, and we were ready to go at the second half. So I thought everybody handled it well.
Got time for just a couple more. Dan, over to the right.
Ryan, you said earlier this week that it was Dwayne's first start. He's going to make some mistakes. With that in mind, did today go about as well as you could have expected for him?
Yeah. I mean, we laughed about it afterwards. He knows I'm going to be all over him for that third down throw down the red zone. But yeah, I thought it was a good start. We'll look at the film and kind of see what happens. Sometimes you have a vision of what it was like on the field, and then you look at it and go from there. But again, I thought it was a good start for him.
Over to the left, Bill.
Ryan, I know you and Kevin both have a background in tempo offense. This seemed much faster and more consistent tempo than maybe we've seen. Was that game specific, or is that something you're hoping to change on the whole this season?
I mean, we have the ability, in the second half, we actually played pretty slow. I don't know if you saw that, like at the end, we were really trying to eat up the clock, and so we were spending a lot of time, eating that clock. So we like to be in control of when we go fast and when we don't. Obviously, Kevin has a big hand in all of this, and his tempo and my tempo background. We've combined, and obviously with the help of the whole offensive staff. There's certain times where we think it gives us an advantage. Sometimes, maybe it doesn't. So based on what's happening in the game, we can make an in-game adjustment. Like, I think it was like maybe midway through the third, we decided, all right, we need to slow this thing down and snap it at like 10 and try to eat up the clock. Do you want to shorten the game or elongate the game? And so I think you saw that today, how we can change that.
And final question, front row, Mark.
Ryan, I've got two for you. Congratulations on the
Thank
win.
you.
First of all, what, if anything, did you prove to yourself today?
Again, I don't think I proved anything to myself. It was just one of those things where you got to jump into the pool with 2 feet, just do it. And it was like standing in the tunnel and looking up. I'm like at Ohio State in the horseshoe, about to run out with the team, and I just looked over at Quinn. I'm like, "We really doing this?" He said, "Yeah," and I had a smile on my face and ran out. But again, when you have those guys behind you and this coaching staff behind you, that's what it is. And again, I've said this before. My job is not to replace Coach Meyer. My job is just to keep this place until he gets back. And never wanted to replace him. Just wanted to keep this thing going in the right direction.
And secondly, other than the win, what was the best thing about today, and what was the worst thing about today?
I thought the best thing, again, was overcoming adversity again, that we had to come in and deal with this delay. That's hard when you get into the rhythm of a game and then all of a sudden you have to stop. You don't do that in football where you just kind of take a deep breath. You're always on edge. And then we had to ramp it back up again. So I thought that was the best part of the day. The worst part of the day? Probably, just, again, the fact that we were nervous at halftime about, if it was 42-14 going into the second half, how can we put ourselves in a situation we're not going to win this game? Well, maybe it'd be a delay, maybe it'd be something like that. So we were a little nervous going into the second half. So that was a little, concerning at the time. But overall, it was a good day.
Coach, congratulations on your first win. Thank you very much.
Thanks.